Hello friends and enemies. Welcome back to Happy for Now. It's time for maybe one of my favorite videos of the year, which is like the wildest books I read. So this year, this list is dominated by just some gems that I loved. So none of these are bad books. Sometimes these are bad books that I don't think you should read, but all of these are books I think you should read. And they are all a wild ride. And if somehow some of these you haven't read yet and you, like me, love a weird book and a wild book and just want to go for a wild ride, you need to get on it. Because these books, a lot of these have the weirdest penises and extra fun bits that you don't expect. I feel like that's my brand. Was it a weird wiener? So we're gonna kick this off strong with Getting Ogre You by M.L. Eliza. This one made me scream for a moment. The thing that made this wild, in my opinion, wasn't the fact that it's like set in Appalachia and she like falls in a hole and gets rescued by this ogre. No. It's that when they finally hooked up, he had like an evolved, the thing that Ice Planet dudes have that I cannot remember the name of for the life of me, that's like a pinky. He had an evolved one of those and it was like a circle that suctioned on. Yeah, that was wild. That one threw me for a whole loop. I was like, why haven't I read this yet? Why haven't I read this before? Like, oh my gosh, we are missing out that this is not in more books, because that was just a perfect surprise anatomy piece for this ogre. I didn't love the ending of this book, but overall it was a really fun time, and that edition made that book top tier for me as far as the wild anatomy happening. Next we have Stalked by the Kraken by Lillian Lurk. I love Lillian Lurk. I think she's one of my new favorite authors. And honestly, I'm so glad I read this last year, and I'm so glad I'm reading more of her books already in 2022, because Stalked by the Kraken was such an interesting setup. So this is set in a bathhouse in which they harvest the energy from the first hookup of a couple that they match as a pair. And this features a being that is an ancient mortal kraken. And I never thought I'd like tentacles, to be honest with you. That was kind of a line I was not ready to cross. There is an alien one that some of my friends really like that has tentacles, and I've just never went there because I've been curious, but I've not like dove in. Lillian Lurk ruined me though. I think I gotta read those, because the use of the tentacles and the extra appendages in this were spectacular. And it was absolutely wild. Like, I wasn't expecting it necessarily. Not to say, like, I mean, we knew, like, it's called Stalked by the Kraken. You know something's coming, but I didn't expect everything that happened with the tentacles in this. But I absolutely loved what it did and how it handled it. And it was just fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. If you've not read this yet, I highly recommend it. I think it's a really fun one. Content note on this one for human trafficking ring thing happening. No one is directly involved in it, but they're busting it. So you may want to know that ahead of time. The other one that I feel like took the world by storm, took TikTok by storm. Some people hated it, some people loved it. Morning Glory Milking Farm by C.M. Nacosta. That woman can write a thing that I never thought I would like, and that is a minotaur and a human. But Morning Glory Milking Farm was absolutely bonkers. I mean, I never thought I'd read a book that was all about like jerking minotaurs off to make a Viagra equivalent for humans. I mean, if there's anything we would do that. We, you know, we do put a lot of research into dudes' things that we don't put into female anatomy stuff, but that's fine. I mean, it's not fine, but that's not the point of this video. But if you told me I was gonna love this book and find like such sweet characters inside of a book full of a lot of sperm, a whole lot of semen, I would have told you were nuts. But this one for me, the thing that made this wild was just the setup, personally. And I think the same for a lot of people, right? Like, it was so good, but that setup That setup was wild. I do think it was kind of my limit on the liquids, which didn't mean that I didn't read another series that I heard about this year that had a lot of liquid. And I have a limit and I found it, and it's about 24 ounces. Then we have Sing Me to Sleep by Romancebooktuber You. So when this got announced, I was nervous. I didn't know if I would like it. I didn't know if it'd be for me. And that is the fact that it's a sleep paralysis demon. And I know you might be like, oh no, that's not for me. But I actually think this is one that can work for a lot of people. But what makes it wild to me was that his tail and tongue situation put this over the top into my wildest category, I feel like. I really liked this. Do you want to give a content note? Actually, I will link to the content notes on Romancebooktuber's website in the description box, so please check those before you dive in, because there's a lot in this book. But it's really, really good, including things like a murder of a family member in a house you're in, having your house robbed while you're in it, and assault and things like that. Like, there's just a lot. But Romancebooktuber did not disappoint me with Acheron in this book, our sleep demon monster. He has like antlers that can like move, like they can go back and stuff. And his tongue is like super long and he has a tail. There's a lot happening here. And I think it's something that, like, again, if you haven't read it yet, you're missing out because it's so good. And there's actually like some world building that I didn't care for, but I know a lot of people liked. And I'm excited. Like, I want to read book 2 in this series, because this was just banana pants, bonkers, and wild. My favorite things. Then the last one on my wildest books this year list is Passion at Hell's Gates by Rhiannon Burnett. This surprised me. This is a very short novella about a girl going to college, and she comes to be a caretaker at a house that something weird is going on at. And it turns out it's the devil. There's a gateway in the basement for demons, and she spends her nights getting railed by some demons. And it's a wild time, and it's this thing that this house is, these people that live in the house have sacrificed for some things in their lives, and they all just, if they stay there, they get railed by demons. And you know, she ends with the devil himself. Like, it's a good time. It was one of those books that when I read it, I thought, like, some people were talking about it, and I was like, I'm gonna read this. And then I read it and I was like, holy crap. But I'm just so happy that I read this, and the way in which it all unfolded was hilarious, like, and so weird that I just, like, I don't want to give you too many details because truly it's a weird one. So I do think it's one worth picking up if you have Kindle Unlimited, because it's on Kindle Unlimited and it's a very, very short read, but it was perfect. It was so much fun. Yeah, those are my 5 wildest books of 2021. I had more, but I kind of wanted to keep this list short and sweet, so if you were trying to dip your toe in a little, you could. On that note, let me know your wildest book of 2021. And if you don't want to do that, you can leave me a drink emoji of your choice. And I will have links to these books in the description box for you, as well as links to be my friend anywhere on the internet. And I will talk to y'all in just a few days. Bye.
Already packing, come with me. I'm not really asking. We'll get away to a place where we don't know. About to see the world in action, what we can be. Life with no distractions. We'll get